soon as I saw that team selection, you know, what are we doing, sort of thing.
It's important that he's won the games, but it felt like sometimes we stumbled over the line just about.
Do probably a bit of a Mortal Kombat style Nina and Sheeno versus Lloyd.
There are positives, I just want to see more.
It's Monday, Chelsea are back, the Chelsea blueprint is back, Cole Palmer is back, and I'm back in the hot seat joined by Tom Sheen and Nina Kristova. We're going to get into Chelsea's game against Wolves, a Cole Palmer hat-trick. What did you both make of that game?
You know, I don't think you can read too much into a win against the team with one win all season. It was an okay performance. Obviously, Cole Palmer getting a hat-trick was great. Two of the goals were sort of big calamities by Wolves. And then second half, I felt that we didn't put the game to bed totally. Let them get a bit too much momentum in the second half. And, you know, against a better team, you might have sort of put yourself into more trouble. But Wolves are just so bad that it wasn't ever really an issue. But, yeah, so I don't think you can read a lot into it. But, you know, 3 points is 3 points. Yeah,
Wolves, dreadful. Cole Palmer, brilliant. But like you said, two of the goals were from penalties. It was his fourth hat-trick in his time at Chelsea, the first player to ever score 3 first-half hat-tricks in Premier League history. Obviously, we know Cole Palmer's brilliant. He hasn't quite been himself probably the last season-ish, the kind of since the turn of the calendar year, hasn't really been the Cole Palmer that we have grown to know and love as Chelsea fans, but he looks like he's slowly coming back. He looks like he's slowly getting a bit fitter and a bit better. But where do you think, Nina, he ranks in right now? Where does he rank in terms of Chelsea greats? Because I think he's up there with in terms of his talent level and his ability. And where do you think he'll be by the time he inevitably one day leaves Chelsea?
I think he's already being talked about as potentially being one of the best we've had. I certainly think he could be up there with one of the greats. You talk about his contributions. I mean, the first season he came into Chelsea, he basically lit up. It was so easy for him, light work. And as you say, he's not been his best self since his injury. He had a bad spell last season towards the end of it as well. Like, where is that Cole Palmer? But even still, he was up there with most chance creations. He was contributing to attacking play, build up, still scoring goals. So if that's a bad season for Cole Palmer, you'll absolutely take it, because when he is back to his best, you're talking about potentially, like you say, one of the very best out there. So yeah, like Tom mentioned, you might look at the opposition and think, well, it's meh, you can't really read too much into it. But if it's an opportunity for Cole Palmer to get, you know, goals on his tally and hopefully that builds to bigger things, then it's great for his individual growth.
Yeah, I think the only thing sort of, you know, if you're talking legacy and history, the only thing holding him back will be how long does he stay.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you know, I'm not convinced he's going to be there for a lot.
He signed up on a lifetime contract.
Well, he's got a lifetime contract, but we know that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, yeah, I mean...
What do you mean? We're not signing him up for 8 more years?
I think talent-wise, he's already in the top, you know, 10, 15 players, so he could definitely climb that ladder, but... Yeah, when we see him in Man United red at some point.
Oh God, I dread to think of it, but it's a very real possibility. Yeah. I'm quite aware of that. The thing is with Palmer in this game, obviously he was brilliant. You know, scoring a hat trick doesn't go under the radar. He was excellent, but I feel like João Pedro. Yeah. We actually mentioned last time Nina was on the channel. I think gave João Pedro a bit of a boost because we said he can become the number 9 that Chelsea need, and since that episode, go back and watch it if you didn't, he's been absolutely incredible for Chelsea. And this game, I think, really proved, although he didn't score, it proved that he's becoming that number 9 that Chelsea need, because he won both the penalties, and it actually reminded me a lot of a Didier Drogba performance, because not only is he holding up play really well, he's comfortable on the ball, he's accelerating the game when he needs to accelerate the game and slowing it down when he needs to as well. But the similarity I noticed the most is that people, whenever they talk about Didier Drogba, they talk about his goal-scoring numbers, and perhaps they're not as good as they should have been, because you had Frank Lampard taking all the penalties, hoovering all the penalties up. And now we've kind of got the same thing, where João Pedro has got good numbers in the Premier League. He's been, for my money, the best attacking signing of the summer, better than anyone else in terms of numbers, maybe not in terms of value if you're looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But he's been really, really good, and he does remind me quite a lot of Didier Drogba. He's probably, for me, the best striker we've had since Diego Costa left. Where does he go from here?
Wow, that just goes to show how rough it's been for us with the striker situation. And, you know, all I can say is thank God he didn't get the number 9 then, because that would have been a different story. But yeah, you're right. You know, the player we saw at the Club World Cup, the way that he was scoring goals, the way that he was in the right places, it just made you feel like this time it would be different. And I know he kind of fell off a cliff a little bit after that because his contributions weren't quite there, but he was still trusted. I don't think it helped that we were still rotating quite a lot, and it meant that where he did build his confidence, that was halted because the next game he was back at the bench. But now you see, when you give him a run of games, he's scoring goals, his confidence is just crazy. And I think his all-round game has improved so much more because he's scoring the goals, his hold-up play is great, he's creating room for other players. It was a shame against Arsenal because he was doing all the dirty work brilliantly, but there was nobody ahead of him to create for. So he, you know, his dribbling, especially against Wolves, he was kind of taking
really
it upon
good.
himself to kind of push up and create space for himself. So that's a real big boost for us and the attack. So hopefully it can continue on. I think the biggest question with João Pedro is not if he's a good player or not. It's can he be consistent now till the end of the season, keep those numbers up, because right now we don't want to see Liam Delap starting ahead of João Pedro.
Anything but Liam
and that
Delap
tells you
starting,
everything
please.
you need to know. So long may it continue. And I think Cole Palmer's return actually might unlock that even more for him.
I think to add to that, you've also seen Liam Rosenior playing more consistently as a 9, whereas under Maresca he was sometimes as a 10 and sometimes, you know, coming off the left or whatever. So I think having that consistent run of games as the number 9 has unlocked some confidence in him. I think actually, rather than Drogba, I think I see more Costa in his game.
Really?
Yeah, because Drogba was more of a powerful sort of, you know, hold-up player.
Yeah.
Not in terms of the nastiness and all that stuff that we love about Costa, but in terms of Pedro putting himself around the pitch, quality on the ball, bringing other players into play. I see a bit more of Costa in it than Drogba, but yeah, I think great to have that sort of reference point as a striker. And can we now get contributions from the other attacking players if Pedro's not going to be the one to always sort of score your goals? But yeah, great few recent run of form for him.
And he links up really well with Cole Palmer, who obviously we've mentioned already, and Estevao, his Brazilian brother, as Estevao calls him. So yeah, it's really nice to see João Pedro finally beginning to thrive in a Chelsea shirt, and it is just a matter of, like you said, Nina, that consistency, and hopefully Liam Rosenior gives him a run of games, because there was a lot made of Maresca's rotation and João Pedro played through a bit of a knock, and now he has to start against Leeds. Absolutely 100%. Has to. Delap can play against Hull. Maybe he'll find his level there, but João Pedro has to play in the Premier League and the Champions League for Chelsea. Has to be that starting number 9. And we mentioned him there. We're going to talk about Liam Rosenior. We can do probably a bit of a Mortal Kombat style Nina and Shino versus Lloyd in here, because I'm quite a big advocate of Liam Rosenior and his start to life at Chelsea so far, but I understand you two are not so keen.
Well, look, how long have we got? I think he's made an okay start. He's won games that we should be winning. To me, the 2 Arsenal games, and I think the second leg, judging by what you've written, you were more impressed with that performance than I was. I think a lot of fans gave us credit for that performance. But if I'm an Arsenal fan or an Arsenal manager, and it's a semi-final, we're 3-2 up from the first leg, we're at home, why do I need to go and do anything? Like if I see the opposition turn up with 5 defenders and Liam Delap on the right wing, I'm very happy at that. I don't need to do anything. It felt to me that Rosenior set up to try and nick a 1-0, bring on players late on, and try and force extra time or whatever. But to me, as a fan, if it's a Carabao Cup semi-final and we're losing in the first leg, as soon as I saw that team selection, I was not, I was like, what are we doing, sort of thing. So the games he has won, and I don't want to list them all, they're games, they're all winnable games. Even the Napoli game, which was, a good win, they didn't qualify for the latter stage of the Champions League. So, great, we beat Napoli in Napoli.
But at the same time, they were unbeaten at home.
Yeah, but come on, they didn't qualify. They're not as good as they were last season. I think even within that game and other games, West Ham being an obvious one, excuse me, these are games that we made hard work. We've won the game. Paphos, we made it hard work. Yeah. So, Rosenior's getting a lot of credit, but I think some of it's a little bit overblown. But again, it's been an okay start. But in a month's time, when we've got Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Everton, City, United after this next 3 run of games, that's when we're really going to find out.
Yeah.
Is he a top manager or not? So
yeah, I do agree with you in the sense that the games he's won, he should have won. I do think the Napoli one was a bit more of a that was tougher than the likes of West Ham or Wolves. Crazy. And so maybe it has been exaggerated a little bit, but I think in terms of, he hasn't really changed the team systematically or tactically massively. He's taken on obviously what Maresca had and what Maresca had done. I think what I've been most impressed by from Rosenior is the change in, I suppose it's mentality from the players. The
group seems happier.
Yeah.
There's a bit more attacking football.
Everyone's a bit happier. And also with Maresca, like you say those games that we should be winning, etc. Under Maresca, I don't think we necessarily were winning those games. And Leeds tomorrow will be a great example. If Chelsea do go ahead and win that, Maresca went away to Leeds and lost 3-1. And the amount of times under Maresca, the thing that, and I was a big advocate for Maresca as well. You said I'm the teacher's pet, but I did like Maresca. The thing I didn't like at all under Maresca was that we'd be winning games and we dropped more points than any other team from winning positions. When we've been doing that under Rosenior, we haven't been dropping points. We've been going ahead and either attacking games from that. We don't sit back and defend and invite pressure onto us. We go and get more goals and we go and attack teams, which I really like to see, and that's what I think you want to see from a Chelsea manager as a fan. Nina, what are your thoughts on Rosenior?
Yeah, to be fair, you both make great points. I think I agree. I think with Rosenior he's won games. He's getting us over the line, right? I just think the performances, like you say, there's nothing that I see that is such an obvious Rosenior footprint yet, or something that he's tweaked to get us playing better football. And I think it's important we're winning games, because the awful run we had in December was just absolutely horrendous. It's left us in this position where we're now in a sluggish top 4 race potentially. So it's important that he's won the games, but it felt like sometimes we stumbled over the line about, which is it a sustainable way to continue on? If we're winning games, then fine. At the end of the day, football fans, we want to see good football, but results and wins is what's important. No one talks about the good performances that you just picked up a point or left with some confidence. So it's important that we win against Leeds, something we didn't do under Maresca. It may sound crazy to say, but actually we might look to Rosenior now and say, with his championship experience and perhaps sort of playing at Strasbourg, he might have maybe a key to unlocking teams that might sit back and make it more difficult. So actually the teams we've dropped points against, like Leeds, Sunderland, not picking up points against Bournemouth, maybe these are the teams that Rosenior might have something up his sleeve for.
I think, in terms of how he's playing tactically, you can tell they play a little bit faster and freer than Maresca, who was very much pass, control. That obviously cost us points, but when we were playing these kind of low block defensive teams, it felt like a lot of hard work to create chances where, again, hold my hands up, we're scoring lots of goals under a senior.
Still conceding though. So look, it's early to say, and I think us Chelsea fans, we're always going to be so much more apprehensive now with, managers come and go, don't they? It's hard to build that connection now and say, like, which manager have you really felt a connection with since Thomas Tuchel, at least for me personally? It's been quite difficult, right, to warm up to them. I think Rosenior's trying very hard to, though. He loves it's all about the fans and, the players doing well. He loves his little lap around the pitch at the end at full time and a fist into the crowd. So it's nice to see, but I think it's early to say how much he's done. Good we're getting the wins, but continue on, because we've still got a job to do, right? You're looking at the top 4 race. It's not straightforward. It's not going to be. There's some really tough games, as Tom mentioned. That run there, it sounds terrifying, right? So if you can go and hopefully get us into a position where we're playing better football so we have more confidence, then that's great. I think his in-game management though has been a good
substitutes have been really good.
They're timely. I said against the West Ham in that derby, Maresca potentially would have waited 65th minute to make changes. Rosenior did it at half time, and all of those substitutions played into the comeback at the end. So there are positives. I just want to see more, and there's still a long way to go to say how good he will be for Chelsea.
So we spoke about Liam Rosenior on the pitch. I'm going to put my Liam Rosenior glasses on so we can speak about him off the pitch, because I feel like he's got a lot of criticism and stick this week. He's had LinkedIn Liam, Lego loving Liam, Will Mackenzie from In-Betweeners.
Hands clapping,
there's a lot kind of going on in terms of his the first touch. I mean,
I knew that was going to be a meme as soon as I saw him do it.
That's not on really, but let's talk about him off the pitch, because I feel like when you come in as a Chelsea manager, there's 2 aspects, which is how you handle yourself off the pitch and the performances he put in on it. I think the likes of Jose Mourinho was the best of both worlds. Thomas Tuchel probably up there with being excellent on and off the pitch as well. Liam Rosenior, I think, been pretty good so far on the pitch. Off the pitch, what do you make of him? I'm
going to let you make your point, but I think he's just trying too hard. Like, just don't worry about all that stuff. Like, you know, I mean, Nina can make the point and I'll follow on after. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about earlier, just a bit performative at times.
Agreed. Yeah, just
going to show up with a matcher next game, isn't it?
Yeah,
matcher.
I just think, even, you know, you take the Mickey with the glasses, but
these are prescribed glasses. Okay. I like these.
He's coming across as like a pseudo intellectual, and he's trying to be a philosopher, and he's very David Brent to me. And it's just like, you know, talking football cliches if you want. Like, you know, the quote about a manager or
aging men.
I mean, like, it's just like, what?
I thought that was a joke at first. I thought someone had made it up, and then I saw it.
So I don't know. I just think it's a bit, not a distraction. It's just all a bit silly. But I just think, you know, just calm down. Let your football do your talking.
So I actually really like it.
I think you're a big fanboy.
I think he comes across really human, and like it makes you feel as a fan, in my opinion, a bit more connected to him as a guy, because I felt like with Maresca, and like I said, I really liked Maresca as well, but the thing I felt was missing from Maresca as a Chelsea manager was that you didn't really feel a connection to him, and he didn't age men enough for me. He didn't love Lego enough. But no, I think Rosenior in his interviews, and I really like the moments with kind of Cole Palmer that we've seen and João Pedro.
I think that stuff is fine. That's quite fun. But I just think, the sort of performative nature to steal the term is just a bit
really like it.
You know, come on.
I think it is nice to have that. He just, for me, brings a bit of a human touch.
I don't find that stuff authentic. I think he's sort of like, I'm Chelsea manager, millions of people watching my everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's always trying. He knows how much we've suffered, right, as fans, and how doom and gloom everything's been, particularly before his arrival, and everything that started to unfold, directed towards the hierarchy. That he's almost trying a little bit too hard to say, actually, it's all fine. You know, we're gonna have a great time
that's to
here
me
together.
Where it comes across as performative and inauthentic, where it's just like, you know, just.
I think he comes across as himself, like.
So he's just a David Brent impersonator.
I think he is like that, and it's almost like with David Brent, it's like, is he being serious? Is he not? But I think this is Liam Rosenior.
Well, maybe,
I really like it from him.
You have like the opposite ends of managers nowadays, where those who say little to nothing at all, and you're sort of like making inferences for yourself, and then you've got Liam Rosenior, who's just so outwardly there. And look, I hear you, Lloyd. You know, it's nice to have someone who's coming out and making it fun. Clearly, like, if he's winning the players over, which is something difficult, like, let's not forget, a lot of these players have almost worked under 3 to 4 managers since that they've arrived and come under this new regime. So for them to have to adapt to a different coach almost like so quickly, and have to adapt to their new philosophy, meet them, literally get to know them. Like, for us as fans, we're like, oh, here we go again. But they're the ones who are hands-on, like facing the change and the transition. So I suppose if he's making that easier for them and he's winning them over, then I say fabulous, great, you know, amazing.
Can't argue it,
can't
it's
argue
a bit cringy to watch.
Yeah, but it is just a little bit too much at times, and you want to say, let the talking happen on the pitch, right? And then if you have to say something about it after, then go for it. But, you know, he is obviously trying to win everyone over, which, fine. He's probably watched us react to every coach and say, Pochettino out, Maresca out, you know, Potter out, etc. So he's probably just trying to avoid that for the foreseeable. But we'll see how it goes till the end of the season. In summer, we can revisit and say if it's worked out or not.
Yeah, Liam Rosenior very much splitting opinion, but Liam, if you are watching, please, God, sort out that first touch, because that was diabolical. But yeah, he's going to be judged ultimately on his results, and definitely in, like you said, that really difficult run that we've got towards the end of the season. That's where Chelsea managers are judged. It's on results. Who cares about his personality if he's not winning games?
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of those games he's going to have to win is the Leeds game tomorrow night, because, like we mentioned with Maresca didn't win away to Leeds. Obviously, going away to Leeds is difficult, and it's a different prospect to playing Leeds at home. You'd hope that the Chelsea players would be a bit more confident playing against Leeds at home. But yeah, this game, what are your main kind of things you're looking for from this game? I think João Pedro starting's got to got to be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's stick to less rotation at the minute as well. I think that's one thing that always seems to halt things. Like, we have players that have barely played alongside each other that are starting games now, and it's becoming a little bit too much change. So maybe stick with the similar team that we saw last time out. Cole Palmer has to start, build his confidence up. If he's not injured now, then there's no reason to manage him or ease him in.
I think he's still doing well, being managed a bit.
Yeah, so that potentially means that he could be benched or not start, but I don't know.
He'll start.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though, because I look at players like Estevao, who I think is such a key player that you want to start against the Leeds, especially a team that might make it difficult. He's creative, he unlocks defences, he is that magic man out there on the flank.
Who would be your, if you're picking a team, who'd be your kind of front four, the three behind the striker?
Yeah, well, actually we're suddenly short for winger choices all of a sudden. With Gittins out, of course, Garnacho's not exactly made a strong case for him to be a regular starter. Pedro Neto's been underwhelming. You know, is it quite worrying that Enzo Fernandez has more goal contributions than Pedro Neto, who started the same amount of games as Enzo, pretty much, I'd say. They've both played an equal amount, so I don't think that Pedro Neto is particularly adding much to our game right now. So you're potentially taking up Esteval's spot, so it could be interesting. I'd start sort of Cole, if we do set up as we have, or we do go for a 4-2-3-1, I'd potentially go for Cole Palmer with Esteval on the right, maybe Garnacho out on the left, and João Pedro leading the line, because who else would
What about
start?
We saw against what was the game just gone?
Wolves.
Yeah, we saw against Wolves. It was kind of Enzo Fernandez
out
played more on the left. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for that again and do a kind of. I think if it was me picking the teams, I think Andre Santos has been excellent since Liam Rosenior came in. I would go for the same Caicedo and Santos pivot with Fernandez in that left pocket, Palmer, Estevao and João Pedro. Yeah. I think at the minute that's our strongest attacking lineup. And Sheen, at last we'll get your thoughts on.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. I think the only I'd drop Neto for possibly a Garnacho. I think the only question is, do you need a Santos, Caicedo, Enzo midfield three, whatever way it sort of looks against Leeds at home, or do you take out Santos and maybe put Enzo a little bit deeper and then bring on another forward or a winger slightly further forward? That would be my only question. Obviously you got Hull coming up on Friday, so
that's where you rotate.
That's where you rotate. Like, you know, I'm pleased like the likes of Hato are getting a chance again, but he was exposed against West Ham. But you got a chance to play him on Friday, so you can say to him, look, you're not playing tonight, you're going to get 90 minutes or whatever, 70 minutes on Friday. So I think you have to play a similar team. The only other one is obviously Reece James. What's his situation?
He should when we spoke to Rosenior after the Wolves game, he said he should be fit to start against Leeds.
Okay, so
which is important, actually.
But do you bring him back in for Augusto, or do you keep it the same? Whatever. Yeah. But I think you need to keep at least 9 of the same players because that's your strongest team. You got a week, more than a week to prepare for the next game after the FA Cup. So that'd be what I'd change.
Yeah, well, that's all we've got time for on this episode of the Chelsea Blueprint. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and let us know in the comments, are you a massive fan of Rosenior? Are you in Canfield's corner, or are you on the side of Shino and Nina? Thank you very much again for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Goodbye.